Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay. To live has started. So we were doing chapter 15. In that we have done this first three parts from 15.1 to 15.12. So first part is basically how to get detached from this material world as continuation to the previous chapter, chapter 14. That what are the three gunas, from the three gunas how to get detached we learned in the first part. Then from there, from 15.6 to 15.20, it's all Purushottama Yoga. The first part is the Purushottama Yoga, is the transmigration. Then the Krishna's position as the maintainer, he is the fire and direction. He's holding the planet. He is holding all the universe as seen in the 11th chapter in the Vishwarupa part. Now we have to go to the 15.6 and 20, the last part, the three shloka, the what is the summarization of the Vedas and the Vedanta and the living entities. Right. Right. So we'll start from here. Okay. According to Vedanta Sutra, the compiled Vedanta compiled in the Lord's incarnations as Vyasdeva, right? Because Vyasdeva is the incarnation of Sri Krishna himself. The innumerable living entities can be divided into fallible and the infallible, right? Living entities are eternally separated parts and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So, what is the fallible part? What is the fallible? Fallible part is the matter, the body relations, the lording over the material nature. But the infallible part is the Satchidanand Swarupa, right? So, living entities can be divided into two parts. With the infallible part is the Satchidanand Swarupa, the true nature of the soul, right? But that is gross thing is the fallible part. When they are contact in the material world, they are called Jiva Bhuta, right? Mam Ivam Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So Shara Sarvani Bhutani mean that they are fallible, right? Shara Sarvani. Shara is talking about that they are fallible. Sarvani Bhutani. Shara means living entities. Those in oneness with the Supreme Person Godhead, however, are called infallible. What is in oneness? Not in the form of quality, not in the form of quantity, right? Oneness does not mean that they have to be have no individuality, right? We have the individuality. Oneness means that the quality is similar, right? But there is no disunity, right? The aim of everyone, the unity is in the serving the Lord. Everyone has the individuality of, oneness is everyone wants to has to, the fundamental position is the serving to the Supreme Personality Godhead. That is in oneness, that is in unity, right? They all agree that the Supreme Personality Godhead, as stated in Vedanta Sutra, is the source of all emanations, right? So everyone agrees. From the Vedanta Sutra, the Mayavadis also. So these are all the source of that. The conditioned living entities who are struggling in this world with the mind and five senses have their material bodies which are changing, right? Prakriti sthani, right? The Manasanstani Vindhyani, Prakriti sthani Karshati. Basically, the six mind, the six senses, including the mind, is we are struggling here, right? In the spiritual world, the body is not made of matter. Therefore, there is no change, right? Because if it is not made of matter, then what is it? What is it? It is eternal. The spiritual part is the eternal part. In the material world, the living entity undergoes six changes, right? There is birth, there is growth, there is some duration we live here, then there is reproduction there, and then dwindling and then vanishing, right? This is the material nature. This is the material nature in the material world. Six changes. In the spiritual world, the body does not change. There is no old age, no birth, no death, right? They all exist in oneness. What is the oneness? Serving the Supreme Lord. Shara Sarvani Bhutani, any living entity who has come in contact with matter, beginning from the first created being, Brahma, down to a smallest ant, is changing its body. Therefore, they are all fall. With this, six changes will happen with everything. Everyone, right? Everyone, from the ant to the Brahma, right? Everyone is going through these changes. In the spiritual world, however, they are always liberated in oneness, right? So this was a part of. Okay. The 16th shloka, I think. I have to get you from the Veda Vest. The slide is missing, I guess. Just a minute. You go to the 16th shloka. Right. So द्वौ 15.6, right? द्वौ इमौ पुरुषौ लोके शरश्चक्षार एव च शर सर्वाणि भूतानि कुतस्थो शर उच्यते. Hare Krishna. Translation, anyone?
Hare
Okay.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So that's we have talked about, right? Shara, the Shara Sarvani Bhutani. This part we have talked, right? The Shara is means the living entity, right? The fallible who is the living entity. Sarvani Bhutani. All living entities are fallible, right? Because of the material nature, right? But in the spiritual world, what will happen? We will have a spiritual body, which is eternal body, right? So we are spiritual beings that we have just talked, right? Continue with the. Okay. Need to share. फिफ्टीन पॉइंट 17 उत्तमा पुरुषस्त्व अन्या परमात्मे ति उदारतः यो लोकत्रयम् आविश्य बिभर्ति अर्वया ईश्वर. हरे कृष्ण. ट्रांसलेशन. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण.
Beside these two, there are greatest living personality, the super soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण. So now the how Lord is maintained, right? The Vedanta Sutra and the Vedas are basically talking about the two living entities. Firstly, the fallible and the infallible. Now, the greatest, above that is the greatest living personality, right? The Supreme Soul, right? The Supreme Soul is talking, the imperishable Lord Himself, right? Who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them, right? In the chapter, we have also learned that, yeah, how He maintains, right? How in the previous chapter, no, how he maintains the direction, how he maintains the planet, how he maintains every living entity, how he maintains all the universe, how he is holding it, right? He enters into every planet, how the Mahatattva then enters the Magarbhudakshay, then the Shirudakshay, right? So how he is maintaining everything, right? So first part is the from the Vedas and the Vedanta, what in the 15.5 what we have learned. Sarvasya Cham Hriday Vishnu, right? Sarvasya Cham Hriday Vishnu. Mata Smrtir Jnanam Aponam cha Vedascha Sarver Ahameva Vidya, right? From all the Vedas, he used to be known, right? And he is the compiler of the Vedanta and Vedanta. So what the Vedantas and Vedas are speaking, that it is speaking about the Shara Sarvani Bhutani, that the living entity is basically the fallible. The infallible is the quality, right? The spiritual being. Right now the Vedas are going deep, that what it is mentioning, what besides these two, there is greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, right? The Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, right? Who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them, right? So more detail into detail, the Vedas and the Vedanta Sutras are being talked about. So in the Katha Upanishad, Sveteshwara Upanishad, and the Upanishadic verse runs as follows: Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetanam. This means amongst all living entities, both conditioned and liberated, there is no supreme living personality. The supreme person, there is one supreme personality, the supreme person got it as Paramatma, right? So there is Paramatma basically, right? In all the conditioned and the liberated, both in both ways, Paramatma is there, no? He is merciful, being in the liberated or not liberated, he is there. He is our true friend, right? If you are going somewhere alone, then you are not alone basically, right? He is always there. He maintains them and gives them all the facility of enjoyment according to different work. Whatever our karmas are there, whatever others are, whatever we it is like some earnings we have got in some bank, then it is just encashed by the Paramatma. That supreme personality godhead is situated in everyone's heart as Hriday Desha, right? Hriday Desha. He is in the heart. Everyone's heart is Paramatma. A wise man who cannot understand him is eligible to attain perfect peace, right? Who can understand him is eligible to attain perfect peace. So one should understand him. We should Atma Sakshar. The Atma Sakshar is self-realization. The self-realization process should be there, right? One must understand and he should attain perfect. Gyatamam Shantim Rashati. If one knows him, then he attains the peace, right? And not others. So there are two classes of we learned in this in the material world, every fallible, infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, right? Sarva Bhutani, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible, right? Besides these two, there is greatest living personality, the Lord Himself, right, who has entered into these worlds. 15.8 यस्माक्षरम् अतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च परिवर्तिता पुरुषोत्तमः. Hare Krishna. Translation anyway.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So first part in the 15.70, there is Supreme Personality Godhead. Who is it? Who is it? He is the Purushottama, right? Uttam in the Purushottama, in the Purusha, the Uttam among the Purushas, right? He is a Paritita Purushottama. He is declaring, because I am the transcendental, beyond both fallible and infallible. He is beyond both fallible and infallible, right? He is beyond the infallible also, right? Because we cannot become equal to him. No one is equal to him, right? And more than him, right? All are less than him, right? So all are less than him, because all the 64 qualities are having with whom? With the Lord Krishna. And then the living entity is having six quality, right? The Vishnu is having 60 qualities, right? So simultaneously, all devis devtas are having less qualities than him. The opulences, he has the six opulences. No one has the six opulences as Krishna, right? And because I am the greatest, he is himself declaring that I am the greatest. I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person. So in the Vedas, in the Vedanta Sutras, uh, what is Vedasya Sarver Aham Eva Vedo. So what is to be known? He is to be known, right? If the supreme person is being talked about again and again in the Vedas, and one is seeing just the leaves of the Vedas, which is just the yagna, the fruitive activities, then one is a fool, right? One is a fool basically. And in the Vedas, you need to know that there is supreme personality godhead, right? So that is the aim of the Vedas, right? That is the prayojan of the Vedas. Although the living entities and supreme soul, supreme lord are both individuals, the living entities, either in the conditioned state or in liberated state, cannot surpass in quantity his inconceivable potencies, right? So Yogeshwara, he is the Yogeshwara, right? He is the Yogeshwara. Is the mysticism. He is the mystic opulences. He has the mystic opulence. He has the six opulences, right? No one can surpass it in quantity. It is incorrect to think of the supreme lord and the living entities as being one on the same level or equal in all respects. That is illogical also, right? It is incorrect. It is illogical. It is foolishness, just, right? There is always the question of superiority and inferiority among between their personalities, right? Is therefore the greatest personality, right? No one is above him. Chandogya Upanishad 8.12.3, the state states that the supreme soul coming out of the body enters the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, right? The super soul coming out of the body enters the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, right? The Lord in his form, he remains in his spiritual identity, right? He has the spiritual identity, right? He has four-handed forms in the Paramatma Swarup, in the Shirodakshay Vishnu Swarup. He is there in his full form, right? In its full form, means his spiritual identities always remain. That supreme is called the supreme personality, exhibiting and diffusing his spiritual effulgence, which is the ultimate illumination. Right? In the 11th chapter, the Arjuna described that there are thousands of suns, hundreds and thousands of suns you can see emanating. That is the Brahma Jyoti, right? That is the effulgence of the Lord Himself. That is the effulgence of the Vaikuntha planets, because Lord is residing in those planets. The self same supreme personality also has a localized aspect as Paramatma, right? He is localized as Shirodaksha Vishnu. By incarnating himself as the son of Satyavati Parashara Muni, he explains the Vedic knowledge as Vyasdeva, right? From the Satya Parashara who came, the Vyasdeva, right? From the incarnation, Vyasdeva himself, he explains the Vedic, right? From the through the Vedanta sutras and the Vedas. So 15.16 say there are two kinds of living, fallible and infallible. Fallible is the condition, infallible is the liberated spiritual. 15.7 there is supreme soul, who is the master of both. He is the greatest personality, enters the three words and then maintains them, right? And 15.18 said, I am the super soul, right? Now Krishna himself, he says, I am the super soul, celebrated both in the worlds and in the Vedas as the supreme person. So no doubt, no illusion, no delusion is there in the minds who reads this Bhagavad Gita, right? So he is declaring himself, right? Declaring himself that, from the way there is two living entities above that. Super soul is there who is maintaining, who is Paramatma iti cha Updashta Anumanta cha. It is Updashta also and Anumanta also. And from above that, Krishna is the superior, is the supreme, right? He is entering into the world, he is maintaining the world, he is from the in the Vedas, he is the supreme person, right? So everyone worships him. So all the demigods, all the right, all the devis and all the devtas, all the worship the supreme personality godhead, right? The Shivji, Shiva saying that he is the supreme personality godhead. Brahma is saying in the Brahma Samhita, right? And the Shiva is saying in the Rudra Gita, and Brahma is saying in the Brahma Samhita that he is the supreme personality godhead, right? So who are we to to say otherwise, right? They are the known personalities, right? They know the truth, they have seen the truth, right? So how can we challenge them, right? So we are just fool, whoever is challenging them. Yo mameva sasamudho janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. Hare Krishna. Translation here.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is to be understood as the knower of everything, and he therefore engages himself in full devotional service, O son of Bharata. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So now one knows that, that what is his condition, what is the liberated condition, what is the supreme soul condition, and who is Krishna. One who knows, then one who knows these three things, right? So what will happen without doubting is to be understood as the knower of everything, right? So ultimately what has to be known, that the Krishna is the supreme personality godhead, that no one is above him, that is to be known. And he therefore engages himself in full devotion service, right? After that only one will engage, because one will not knowing that who is the supreme, who is the Lord, who is the supreme personality of Lord, who is the actual Lord, then he will not go to him, right? So, O son of Bharata, one who engages, one who knows this, then only he will start worshiping, right? So Shiva, just like that, he doesn't worship, right? He worships out of love. He worships, he is the supreme person. He knows that he is the supreme personality Godhead. That's why he worships, right? So Lord clearly explains one who truly knows him is the actual knower of everything. Such a personal devotee, without wasting any time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness, right? No time he wastes, right? He should receive the Vedic knowledge called Shruti directly from Krishna or his representatives from proper disciplic succession, right? Should submissively accept that living entities are always subordinate to the Lord. We are always subordinate to the Lord. Whatever, one is becoming Ravana, accumulating huge wealth, one is becoming Hiranyakashipu, huge power, one is accumulating, one is becoming Kamsa, huge power, one is security, but one is always subordinate to the Lord, right? Such a person is supposed to be truly knowing the purpose of Vedas. One should not simply speculate academically, right? Just by reading the Vedas, nothing will happen, right? One has to have some self-reflection, one is to know this thing. Reading and knowing are both different things, right? That knowing is different and reading is different. Just reading and not following it, then you will not know. One is reading and applying, then only one will know that what Krishna is trying to tell. So according to the Vaishnava Parampara, one engaged in the devotional service of the Krishna need not adopt any other spiritual process for understanding the supreme absolute truth, right? So in the Vaishnava Parampara, what is the process? One is in the devotional service, right? No, nothing other spiritual processes is required, right? This preliminary process of understanding are ended. And all the preliminary process that this you have to do, this you have to do nothing. You follow the four regulative principles. You do your Sankirtana Yajna properly. You do your chanting properly. You do some devotional service. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदम् उक्तं मया नघ एतद्बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कर्तकृत्याश्च भारत। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण।
This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the most confidential part has been now talked. The most of the Vedic scriptures, right? Of the Vedic scriptures, that he is from the all the Vedas. He is to be known, right? O sinless, and one who knows, he will automatically start engaging in devotional service. So knowing is required, right? So sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Right? So he has disclosed now the actual jnana from the Vedic scriptures, also from the Vedanta also. Whoever understands this will become wise, and this his endeavors will know perfection. What is perfection? Attain the service of the Lord, attain the devotional service of the, attain the loving service of the Lord. Right? That is the perfection. Right? So this is the most confidential part of scriptures, right? We have done this. So devotional service is the process of spiritual understandings, right? So spiritual understanding begins with devotional service. Frees one from all contaminations of the modes of material nature, right? These are the effects. These are the effects of engaging in the loving devotional service of the Lord, right? So frees one from all contamination of the modes of material nature, right? One is goodness, one is mode of goodness, rajoguna, tamoguna, satoguna. He is freed from them, makes one intelligent and perfect in transcendental knowledge. Devotional service and material contamination cannot coexist, right? One is doing devotional service, right? Material contamination, because devotional service is itself is transcendental. Lord is said to be the sun, and ignorance is called darkness, right? Where the sun is present, there is no question of darkness, right? Automatically, it's all automatic. In the presence of devotional service, under the proper guidance of bona fide spiritual master, there can be no ignorance, right? No ignorance can be there if the spiritual. That's why spiritual master is needed. The word anaga by which Arjuna is addressed is very significant, means sinless one, right? He is the sinless one, right? Because he is following the order. Unless one is free from all sinful reactions, it is very difficult to understand Krishna, right? So what we are doing, we are getting free from our sinful reactions. How? Because we are getting purified. How we are getting purified? From the Nam Sankirtan, by chanting process, right? By performing the devotional service itself. So doing something transcendental will ultimately will be free from self action, and yes, then there will be the darshan of the Krishna, right? Then there will be, we will have the darshan of the Krishna. Devotional service is so very pure and powerful that it automatically makes one sinless. While performing devotional service, one must shed weakness of the heart. Right? What is the weakness of the heart? There are two weaknesses of the heart. The first, the fall down is caused by the desire to lord. The first one is the desire, right? One is having the desire to lord it over the material nature, that prevents performing transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord, right? The material nature, we are entangled in the material nature. What will happen? That there is the desire, right? There is the desire basically. The first fall down is just by the desire. Just the thought is coming is the itself is the desire. And with some desire we have, that is the first fall down. That's why Srila Prabhupada used to tell, brahmachari should not even have a thought of any kind of lust, any kind of woman, and no thought should also not come, right? Because mind is very active, mind is always doing something, right? It needs engagement. You have to give something to the mind, either material or spiritual. Something needs, the mind needs something, right? In the temple also, if one goes, he is sitting idle, then the mind will wander. So it's better to have some service, always engage your mind in something. The second is the fall down, is the attachment to the matter. First is the desire, then you are trying to lord it over, then the attachment comes, right? The Bharat Maharaj, right? The Bharat Maharaj comes, he has no desire to the lord it over the material nature, but the attachment came, the attachment with the deer came, right? So what happens? The attachment to the matter due to the propensity to lord over the material nature, right? That is the fall down. So second, so two types of fall downs, there is bound to happen. If these two are happening with us, the desire and attachment, then the fall down will come one Sunday, right? Someday it will come, right? So we need to get above it, we need to get rid of it basically. So first five verses to describe process of freeing from the weakness of the heart, right? First five, 15.1 to 5, and that how the weakness of the heart, how to get free, how to get the weapon of detachment is there, how to get that. On the sixth, it is all the Purushottama, all talking about the Lord, right? Purushottama Yoga. Summary, the knowledge explained in this chapter is the essence of Vedanta and the most confidential part or substance of the Vedas, right? What is the result of understanding? One will become wise and his endeavors will know perfection, which is devotional service. What is the qualification? Become sinlessness, right? One start the devotional service, he is become sinless, right? So we end here. And any questions on this from there? So we'll start the chapter 16. Hare Krishna. Any questions on 15th chapter? Okay. So then we will start the divine and the demonic natures, right? The Devi Asura Sampada Yoga, right? The difference between the Devi and demonic natures, right? So can anyone tell that what is the relation between the 15th and the 16th chapter? Why this chapter now comes? We've already described, you know, why this chapter is now starting.
Guruji, in 15th chapter, we learn that how the bhakti has to be performed and what we need to do in the human birth. 16th chapter, it is about who follows it and who do not follow it.
Okay, Mataji. Hari Bol Mataji. So basically, who are the devs and who are the demonics, right? Who are the divines and who are the demonics? That needs to be understood, right? Because in the previous chapter, there are various activities, firstly the banyan tree has been explained, right? Then and what are the natures, right? What are the natures, what one natures cultivates, right? With the, the one is having doing pious activity and one is doing non-pious activity, right? So impious activities basically, right? So what will happen, various branches will go, but the pious one will be transcending towards going upwards towards good, higher planets, and then pious one will be going down, remaining here or going down, right? So can anyone tell that you know the divine qualities will come into the in the which guna, and the demonic qualities which come into the which guna? There are only two, the gunas are three, but the natures are only two. It will be either divine or it will be demoniac. There are only two natures, nothing more than that. Hare Krishna. And which gun to put, basically sattva gun to put in divine and which to put into the demoniac.
Tamoguna Prabhuji.
Okay, tamoguna to be in the divine. What about rajoguna? Hare Krishna. Rajoguna to be put where? In divine or demoniac? So Rajoguna is, how Rajoguna is, how you define it. One is basically in the mode of passion, right? He will be, if someone wants to achieve something, if it is not achieved, he will have anger, he will have wrath, right? That kind of things he will have. So what will happen? Definitely will come to the demonic nature, right? So the Rajoguna, Tamoguna are basically demonic natures, and the Satoguna will have divine natures, right? So in this section, we will have three parts. The transcendental and the transcendental demonic qualities. First, we will discuss first to six, then 720, the demonic nature. What are the demonic nature? And 2024, that how the choice, the escaping to the supreme destination. That is our choice, right? Which nature we choose, that is our choice, right? So 15th chapter described the banyan tree of the material world, the modes of materialization nourish both the upper auspicious divine branches of the tree and the lower, the demonic branches, right? Extra roots of the banyan tree were also compared to the activities of living entities, some auspicious, some inauspicious, right? So auspicious is the divine, inauspicious is demoniac. So chapter 16 will explain the divine qualities that elevate one on the tree and leads ultimately to liberation. Chapter 16 will also explain the demonic qualities and new mentality which drives one lower on the tree and ultimately to hell, right? So both needs to be known, right? This is the knowledge, right? To transcend the transcendental and the demonic qualities. So Lord Krishna lists 26 characteristics of saintly people, qualities that elevate one on the banyan tree and ultimately lead to liberation, right? So this is the process. This is the 26 characteristics of saintly people. This is the qualities. Basically, if you try to cultivate it, what will happen? You will go above, and if you go, you want to be liberated, go to the Goloka Vrindavan. Then also you can cultivate these qualities, right? It is not coming the slide. Right. Hare Krishna again. Anyone wants to volunteer to read? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Is it visible, right?
Yes, Prabhuji, it is visible.
Okay. I will read them. The Supreme Personality Godhead said, these are 26 already, right? The Supreme Personality Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of the spiritual knowledge, charity, self control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities of Son of Bharata belong to godly man and endowed with divine nature, right? So each one we will read about each one, right? So because this is the path, basically this is the knowledge, this is the path. So we will describe each and every one, right? So first is the fearless abhayam, the sannyasa ashram, the first question sannyasi. So sannyasi, the first year, basically the sannyasi ashram, right? The fearlessness, the abhayam, and the sattva sachido, the purification of one's existence and the cultivation of knowledge, jnana yoga vivastito, right? So first one is the sannyasi, right? Sannyasi is basically completely, one is having a thinking that how I will survive if I will get out of this house, and how I will survive. Then he should not become a sannyasi, right? Sannyasi ashram is not for that, right? Because that thinking itself is showing that he is still not dependent, he is still not surrendered to the Supreme Lord, because a sannyasi is basically complete dependence on the Supreme Lord's mercy, because he is always with him. So sannyasi is like that, has to be alone without guarantee of support, right? No support should be there. That is a part of sannyasi. He is totally dependent on the Supreme Lord. That is the conviction with him, that is the conviction, that is the sannyasi, right? The Srila Prabhupada tells that there is always one needs to have always, these four ashramas one needs to follow. First is, brahmachari, 25% of the life in the brahmachari, 25 years of brahmachari, 25 years of grahastha, 25 years of vanaprastha, and 25 years of sannyasa, right? Like this one should be divided, right? So the sannyasa, the first qualification of sannyasi. This is the first qualification, fearlessness, right? Because if he is not convinced that he is, he can leave house, and he can do, he is into service of the Lord, and he totally dependent on the Lord, then he is not qualified to become a sannyasi. So one becomes from the heart, right? So convinced that Paramatma will give all protection to the surrender soul. This is his conviction. This is his determination, right? Then only this he becomes fearlessness, right? This fearlessness comes when one becomes a sannyasi. If fearlessness is not there, then what is happening? Cannot become even a sannyasi, right? Second part is the sattva sachido, basically purification of one's existence, strictly following rules and regulation. Right? Sannyasis are having very strict rules, right? So like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Always, always he followed all the rules of sannyas, all the rules, right? Like the Chota Haridas Thakur was there, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, though no woman even could come near the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to to address him, to bow. The woman used to bow him, from the far away. It was not because of something derogatory to the woman, but he was following the rules of a sannyasi, right? He wanted to strictly follow the sannyasi, should follow the strictly the rules and regulations. And one time the Chottari Thakur, once just looked at a woman, and he had some lusty desire, and by that, the Shaitan Mahaprabhu said that one needs to suicide it before this even thought comes, right? So that is the level of purification one should follow. So strictly following the rules and regulations, all the rules and regulations, whatever is there. And so that is the part of sannyasi's life, especially forbidden in intimate association with women, right? Example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was personally very strict, right? He was very strict, right? He punished Chota Haridas Thakur, right? You think that he was the one of the close associates of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He had come here. He is the most merciful, Lord. right? Most merciful Lord, right? Most merciful Lord. Still, when Chota Haridas Thakur, committed this, then then you think that what will happen to us, right? The same ticket, but with जो टिकट छोटा हरिदास ठाकुर का वही टिकट हमको मिलेगा, है ना? कोई अलग कुछ अलग प्रावधान नहीं है इसके लिए. So it is the same thing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whatever, because he is the most merciful, right? Still, the rules, because one who enters the sannyasi life, he is bound to do them. That's why, Diksha is not so easy, right? That's why the Dikshas and the Van Prastha life, the sannyasi is not so, it is not a joke, right? It is not a joke. One who commits sin after doing that, after having the determination, conviction, and after one who does that, then there is a surely a great punishment after that, right? So one should be very careful, right? That his heart should be very purified. So that's why self-relation is very necessary. So cultivation of knowledge, right? The third part is the cultivation of knowledge. This is also a part of sannyasi, right? Sannyasi. Duty of a sannyasi is must cultivate and give transcendental knowledge, right? He should cultivate himself, right? He should cultivate by going into the spiritual master, and then this transcendental knowledge should be cultivated, and especially to the householders, right? Then to the householders, he does no, they go and they say the bhiksham de, because they are begging, because they are not begging actually. They have gone there to impart some knowledge to the householders. They have not just gone, not just gone for some begging part. No, even if something they have not got, but still his duty is there to cultivate and give some trans. So he needs to give some transcendental knowledge to the householders, right? Who are into too much into the material, because you see that when there are kids, when their family life is there, so the householders are too much engaged, you're too much attached, too much attached with the family life, right? So the transcendental knowledge is very necessary for them. So begs, the humility of the sannyasi is shown there, that it begs from door to door to awaken Krishna consciousness for others, and this is the duty of a sannyasi, right? Charity, bro. Now comes the grahastha, right? The charity who can do, only grahastha can do. No, neither brahmachari can do, neither vanprastha can do, and the sannyasi can. They don't have any money, they are totally dependent on the law. Brahmachari is dependent on his guru, right? And then vanprastha is already in the forest, is dependent on the Paramatma. Sannyasi is also dependent on the Paramatma, right? So the grahastha is the only person who can do some charity. That's why all the yagnas, all the sacrifices are given for the grahasthas. So that's why Krishna is saying that the charity, the sacrifice should go on, right? Sacrifices should be going on. The charity given in the mode of goodness, right time, right place, to the right person, is basically actual charity, right? Not we are the we are the followers of Rupa Goswami, right? So what is recommended, 50% of the income should be given to the propagate the Krishna consciousness, right? So spend, right? So this conviction will come gradually, right? This conviction will come gradually. Charity in passion ignorance is a waste of time, right? In the passion, charity one is doing to gain out of something, it is basically charity in passion. Out of ignorance, one is doing, giving, one is beggar, one who is, one who is having two hands, two legs, everything he is having, but still he is begging, right? And then we give something to him, out of ignorance, and then he go to the alcohol shop and drink some alcohol drink. Then what is happening? It is just a waste of time, it is the waste of charity, it is tamoguna charity, right? So that is also the waste, right? So charity should be in the mode of, the discrimination should be there in the charity. Self-control, right? All the, especially the grahasthas, right? Especially the sex life should be used only for propagating Krishna conscious children. Else we are doing for the pleasure, then there is no difference between having the lust in the material things or having a pleasure life, right? So that one must should, the sex life should only be there to beget a children, right? Beget a children basic for Krishna consciousness. If Krishna consciousness is there, then only one should beget a children. Then else it is all lust, it is all material, lord it over the material nature, whatever sense gratification is there, it is all there. Right? The self-control should be there, and especially in the grahasthas. All has to follow, all have to do the sense control, but the most prone to the fall down is the grahasthas, right? So he has to very be careful to be have the self control, right? And second, then the grahastha has to do sacrifice yagna, the agnihotra yagna, yeah, that requires material resources. All the resources can only be given by grahastha, right? But in this time it is very too expensive. There daily you will have some kgs of ghee putting in the yagna. Daily you have to do yagna. They're too costly. Too costly, and one cannot do in this time. So in this time, what is recommended? Sankirtan yagna. It is not expensive. Also, it is inexpensive, right? No expenses there. Rather, it is the best anyone can do. No qualification required. One can start right away. One is seen in the YouTube, you can start right away. I started my chanting from the YouTube only, right? I had I had just bought one, I had some Rudraksh mala I had. I started chanting there only, right? I started from the YouTube, right? Just on the experimental basis, right? Started chanting, right? It gradually increased, gradually increased. Then you feel you can self-realize, right? Because you are, if you are searching for something from the heart, it should come, and then it can gradually rise. It can gradually, you can feel the things. You can feel and then the self-relation comes. When the self-relation comes, then you can easy. It becomes easy, because if no rasa is there in your meditation, then it is very easy to fall down, right? The no rasa is coming. So there should be rasa, there should be meditation, there should be good meditation, right? And the naam should have some taste, gradually the taste should come, right? It has the highest benefit, right? It is from the for the Kali Yuga, it is recommended. It has the highest benefit. Vedic study is for the brahmachari, the student life, right? If you try to do all the Vedic study now, you cannot do. That's why Prabhupada has said only, you read only two books, right? Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. At least these two books, one should, one should try to read. If not Bhagavatam, at least Bhagavad Gita, right? So Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, very less books he is recommended, right? So for the brahmachari, recommendation for the brahmachari celibacy, right? So that he can control throughout his life. So swadhyaya is very necessary, and engagement of mind is the study of Vedic literature, right? So the mind is wandering very heavily in the in the youth age, right? So what happens? So it is it is put into the study of Vedic literature, and it is put into the learning of the shlokas and all, right? So this they can practice. Then the austerity for all, right? For the form of brahmachari also, grahastha also, for the vanprastha also, the sannyasi also. The tapa is very necessary. For the vanprastha, tapa is very serious, because one is gone into the forest, into the jungle. It is totally dependent on the Lord, right? Various things will happen. Or the Vanaprastha tapa becomes very crucial, right? So human life and therefore Vedic culture is meant for liberation. For that, tapasya is a must. Right? Even for the material things, you want to gain something, you do sacrifice some things, right? So that is the tapasya. Then you get that something. But in the spiritual life, it is also there's austerity, right? But in the Kali Yuga, it is very easy austerity, right? It is not even tough also, right? Some four regulative principles you need to follow, right? Four regulative principles, and then the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right? No one is saying that you leave everything, you leave your job, and you go there. No, no one is saying. So one must, what is recommended in the Vanprastha? After the Grasta, one must then retire. The household life approximately 50 years of age. This is the Prabhupada's recommendation, right? That he's in the from the start of the, at least by the 50 years of age, one must retire, right? Because 25 years brahmachari ashram, 25 years grahastha ashram, the 50 years are over. Now, whatever in the Kali Yuga, our life is also not certain. I have heart attacks, some various things are coming. At least, it is said that at least 20 years of your, the last part of your intense, grave Krishna consciousness things should be happening. Grave Krishna consciousness activities must be done, for self-realization, so that you can remember the Lord. So austerity can be of body, mind, and tongue. Right? How we can serve the Lord from the tapas can be done by the body, by the external, by the mind, by fixing our mind in the Krishna consciousness, and by the tongue, tasting the prasadam and only speaking the glories of the Lord, and to propagate Krishna consciousness. That is the austerity, right? Refutes show bottle spiritualities who says that there is no need of austerity in life. Well, some says that no austerity is needed, right? That is just fooling you. That is just cheating propensity. And one can go on speculating. Such philosophy attracts many followers, right? There are the Ashtang Yoga part only. The asana and pranayamas they teach. Yam niyam they don't teach, right? Else then no one will come to their shop, right? So it is like that. So austerity, if they teach, then that is the only thing how basically Ashtang Yoga can be done. But because Yam Niyama is not for asana pranayam, has of no value then. So one is speculating and going on. So it is just attracting the followers. No, the result, the self-flation will not come. Right? They will go on with their life, right? Simplicity should be there. All should follow simplicity, right? Simple living and high thinking, right? Like Srila Prabhupada. Always simple, straightforward, even revealing everything to the enemies also. Non-violence, ahimsa. Non-violence implies not checking progressive life of any living entity, right? Like one is basically practicing, one is meeting eating non-veg, right? What he is doing, there is basically the progressive life of a animal is there, right? There is some progress life that it has got some years to live. But one has killed that, one has killed that animal. No, what will happen again? He has to come into that, animal life in order to complete those years, and suddenly some has killed some animals has killed, suddenly one has killed, killing has killed, then right, what will happen again? He has to come. So one is check this progressive life. So non-violence means not checking the progressive life, right? We check the progressive life, then what will happen? It will again, one has to take birth, right? So one needs to stop this meat eating and all, right, in order to basically uh, do practice ahimsa. Ahimsa is not taking progressive life. One need not kill the animal, animal just for sacrifice, because it is practicing ahimsa in that, right? It is practicing hinsa in that. So one need to follow ahimsa. Truthfulness, satyam, not distort the truth for some personal interest, that is satyam, right? For the all the ashramas, especially in Vedic instructions. Misinterpreted Bhagavad Gita commentaries are basically personal interest. Gita for business, right? Gita for business. What is there in this Bhagavad Gita regarding business? Nothing is there. Still, misinterpretation. Bhagavad Gita, they say. They can say, okay, write Gita. My Gita, you write. But Bhagavad Gita is Lord's Gita, right? Lord's Gita. But one should not write it as Bhagavad Gita, right? So Bhagavad Gita commentary is for personal interest they are doing, right? Distorting the truth. The truthfulness, they are not following. What is happening? They are not having godly qualities. What kind of qualities they are having? Demonic natures they are having, basically. So process of understanding Vedas, one must hear from authority, Shruti, right? So authority, right? Srila Prabhupada has written this Bhagavad Gita as it is. There are various copies, various editions of English. I think the Gita Press, the Prabhupada has said that Gita Press one, the Bhagavad Gita is close to the what the what is very close to the what Lord is saying, right? And the best is this one, the Bhagavad Gita as it is, right? So the process of understanding Vedas, one must hear from authority, that is Shruti, right? From proper authority one must. If you hear from here and there, you will be confused. If you hear here from the ISKCON, if you start hearing, and if you follow some other sampradaya, what will happen? You will be confused. Your self-flation process will be very badly obstacle. Your huge obstacle will come because you will be confused. Once you are confused in spiritual knowledge, that is just very chaos happens in the mind then, right? That's why that is not recommended. In ISKCON itself, if you are following, you just follow one sampradaya. You have fixed, and yes, Brahma Madhav God sampradaya. You have fixed. You have come. You are learning from that knowledge only. Then apply that all that knowledge. If you for example, if one goes to one doctor and then he goes to other doctor, always all will say some things or something other, but all are recommending one thing only, that yes, you need to be cured, right? This is their intention, right? But the process is different, so one gets confused a lot. Similarly here, it is your spiritual journey, it is yourself spiritual journey. So multiple spiritual guru should not be there. Only one you have fixed, that okay, Brahma Madhav God sampradaya, this is the sampradaya which I need to follow, and you must follow. If you go here and then you follow Sri Sampradaya, then chaos will happen in your mind. That's why it is not recommended to listen to other lectures, right? Freedom from anger for all, right? Akrodha, even if there is provocation, one should be tolerant. Anger pollutes the whole body, right? Anger is product of passion and lust. There is some passion, you need something, that's why Krodha has come. There is some lust in that, you need something, right? Then that's why Krodha has come. Tyaga, using things properly, that is in Krishna. Tyaga means not give up the material thing. Use it for the Lord's purpose, else don't use it. Right? That is Tyaga. Tranquility, Shanti, unaffected by disturbing emotions, right? Peaceful, equipoise. One should be tranquil. Aversion to fault finding, a devotee should be refrain from any kind of fault finding, but because if one is doing fault finding, then he is not a devotee also, right? Some service someone is doing in the temple, and then he finds some fault in that. That is just that is some aparadha is being going, right? So one should be refrain from that. Let them, you do your service, right? Your service, whatever you should appreciate whatever good things are there. One should appreciate whatever good things are there, that okay, why this, this is happening, why this is happening, that look how he is doing loud, how she is doing loud, how good the Lord is being served, right? Not the fault finding should not be there. Okay, this must have been done better, not like that. It should be always like, how best it is being done, and you do your service, right? So to call a thief is okay. That is fine, right? One is doing wrong. That is fine. But no unnecessary fault finding or correction should be there. Corrections it could have been done better and all that, right? That kind of correction. Compassion for all living entities, daya. Give spiritual knowledge, prasadam, books, holy name, all this, right? Compassion, right? We distribute prasad. That is compassion for all living entities, right? The food for life, is gone, goes for food for life. For everyone, prasadam is there. Books distribute, holy name distribution. Freedom from covetousness, right? Greedy, charity, and renunciation, right? One should be not be greedy. One should have charity and renunciation. Friendliness, gentleness should be there. Friendliness to all living entities. One should be a gentleman, right? Modesty, do not perform abominable actions and be very modest, right? Steady determination, not agitated or frustrated in his efforts regardless of failure, right? Because we are trying to get detached from the fruits, right? That's why regardless of the failure, one should not be frustrated in his efforts, right? He should do whatever capability one has, and and in the service of the Lord. Progress with patience and determination. You should have lot of patience and lot of determination. Patience and determination is very necessary in the bhakti yoga process. One should be patient, because Lord will be pleased, then only he will be revealed to you. You are eternal, right? So there is no fear in that. We are eternal, right? We need to go to the Lord. This understanding one has come. Now the patience should be there, because Lord will decide when he will reveal to you, when we are qualified, right? So patience should be there, because at the best time, the Lord knows the best time that he has to be revealed. Since our heart is not purified, since we cannot digest the Lord, and we cannot digest service to the Lord, that's why direct service to the Lord, that's why the patience should be there, because when he will be pleased, he will reveal, right? Then one should have determination, huge determination, that conviction should be there. One should have vigor should be in the kshatriya dharma, one who is following, because the able to give protection to those who need it, right? Yes, there should be some compassion, right? The Arjuna is the best kshatriya, right? He is here, and he is thinking, right? He is thinking, right? Okay, this is Dronacharya, this is Bhishma, how can I fight? That is okay, that is fine, right? That is fine. But one should have, but one should have vigor, not post non-violent, but use violence when needed. When needed, he will fight now, right? Forgiveness, shama should be, especially for Kshatriya, forgive minor offenses of the others. Kshatriya should forgive minor offenses of the others. When one is able to curb down his enemies, he may under certain conditions show forgiveness, right? Because he has been won the war. He has won whatever enemies he wanted to win. Then he can, in certain condition, one should be forgiven. That is Kshatriya should follow that. Fortitude for Kshatriyas, mental emotional strength when facing difficult situation, right? But if administrator in the position of administrator, you put the Shudras or the Vaishyas or Brahmanas, then they cannot handle it. That's why what will happen, depression will come, right? Because mental and emotional strength is not there, right? But Arjuna has it, mental emotional strength when facing difficult situation. Cleanliness, internal mind and heart, external body, and in dealings with others. Internal mind and heart should be purified, right? External body and dealings with others, right? No black mark on underhanded dealings. This is all cleanliness. All comes in cleanliness. Freedom from envy, adroho, not resentful for another. Or freedom from the passion for honor. Must respect others. For the Shudra especially, must respect others. One should not be puffed up with unnecessary prestige and honor, but remain in one's own status, right? Hare Krishna. So we will end here today. Hare Krishna. Only start tomorrow, maybe. Right? Hare Krishna. Any doubt in
Thank
today's
you,
chapter?
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Very nice class session, Prabhuji. Very nice.
Yes, Madani.
Beautiful
We need,
chapter.
yes, Madani. All beautiful jnanas are there, and few beautiful knowledge is there. Actually, applicability is there in all this chapter. That is the beauty of these chapters. It is all applicable in all practical things it is being talked about now. That is the knowledge. If one knows this and he